Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameAccess.net, talking about my experiences with Bitmap Books. Just wanted to make a quick comment about myself that anybody who knows me probably already knows that I'm a video game collector. But more than that, I'm actually also a collector of like video game related paraphernalia, particularly video game related art books and coffee table books. I consider games to be art. Let's just get this out of the way. And the contents of the game, whether it be the music for it, the box art, the visuals of the game itself, are in fact art. And I always appreciated for the longest time since they started publishing these of basically seeing just the art itself of the games. Unfortunately, at least in the United States, there really aren't too many publishers that are willing to print books like that. And you can just look at this right here. All of these were published by the same publisher. I first became aware of Bitmap Books when I was looking for inspiration for how I wanted to decorate my arcade basement. I've been, as you guys have noticed, I've been decorating it and basically just screwing around with ways to optimize the space and looking for things like decorations and tchotchkes and things like that. And during my search, I came across Bitmap Books, and I was immediately taken aback and quite impressed by the books and the quality of the books that they offered. And after I purchased my very first book from them, I was always a fan of the Neo Geo platform as well as its games. And after I purchased this MVSX a couple of months ago for my arcade, I kind of went on a bit of a tear trying to find other SNK or Neo Geo related collectibles to add to this arcade collection. And I ended up finding some things, such as these collectibles up here that some of you may be familiar with. But during my search, I ended up finding this book. This is the Neo Geo Visual History from Bitmap Books, and as you can see, it is an officially licensed SNK product. This was the very first Bitmap book that I ever purchased. And as you can see, just looking at the cover itself, it is absolutely freaking beautiful in almost every single way. And the experience all around of purchasing this book inspired me to basically purchase more. I was so happy with basically the entire process of getting that book and having that book. I was just so pleased with that process that obviously I wanted to buy another one and then another one. And now I've got myself a little mini collection right now. This is just a look at my current collection right here. There's a bit of a mismatch of all different types of genres and content, but the truth is that this is just kind of how I am versus what's currently available for purchase. I'll talk about that in just a second. I mentioned before that I was very much into the Neo Geo. That's how I found out about the books in the first place. So this is the official licensed SNK visual history of the Neo Geo, and also something that took my fancy because I was very interested in like the Fatal Fury games as well while playing the Neo Geo. This is their King of Fighters book, collector's edition, which actually includes an actual invitation as well as a postcard. So I thought that was actually kind of cool. Other stuff, of course, I've actually been quite interested in, of course, this is their arcade extended edition. Not the collector's edition, the extended edition, which actually includes the art and panels from all of the classic arcade games that you and I remember from the 80s, 70s, and 90s. Even some more, slightly more recent ones are also included on here, but all of my favorites are actually displayed in this book with of course, their amazing panel art and everything else. So this is just a fantastic reference as well. Moving up here, this is a JRPGs. I would call this something on the level of Encyclopedia, basically. Essentially, this is an encyclopedia of what we would all consider to be a list of all the JRPGs that we remember. Sometimes they're referred to as console RPGs, but we'll talk about that again at another time. And of course, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Pokemon, all of that, of course, is listed in here, as well as blurbs about the game, art, art content from the game, screenshots, that sort of thing. Moving over here, this right here, this is, I bought the collector's edition for this cover alone. I mean, this cover and slipcase is just absolutely beautiful. This is what I guess you guys would call this the PC Engine collector's edition. And yeah, this right here, this is a feature of all of the classic PC Engine games. Of course, my peers in the United States would probably refer to this as the TurboGrafx 16, but where most people would remember it, it's actually the PC Engine. And this was a book about all of the games that were released on the system. I know a lot of people actually look back on that system quite fondly, although it never really took off. It was just one of those types of platforms. But yeah, the art alone made this worth interesting. And then this one right here is just a look at my childhood. I'm Too Young to Die. This is a encyclopedia. This is the collector's edition, obviously, of the encyclopedia, but this is basically an encyclopedia of all first-person shooter games, regardless of platform. They've got PC, they've got N64, they've got Xbox, but this is essentially a list based upon year of all the first-person shooter games that were released basically up until 2002. And it ends at 2003. And I heard actually that the writer of this book is actually currently working on a sequel from 2003 onwards. So I think that's pretty awesome. But that is not, while that's been announced, that's not currently available for purchase. So these are essentially just a smattering of available books that you could probably currently get right now on the website, collector's editions notwithstanding. If collector's editions were available, I would purchase them, but right now a lot of the original collector's editions have long sold out. In fact, I think since ordering it, I'm pretty certain the King of Fighters collector's edition has completely sold out. So yeah, you may not be able to actually get this if you look on their website. There's also some other books that I was really interested in looking into, particularly their CRPG, not console role-playing game, their computer RPG book, as well as a book about point and click, essentially all the adventure games, an encyclopedia for adventure games. Those have been published in the past. Those are being republished, but currently they are listed as out of stock on their website, which is why I don't have them here. But needless to say, I mean, just look at these things. These are basically, I could hang these up on one of the walls, and consider that a piece of art, whether it's in my living room or my arcade. These covers alone are basically worth the art that they're printed on, essentially. I mean, look at this. I mean, just look at the heavy detail on this original artwork. I mean, the blurs behind them, absolutely phenomenal. And let's say nothing about this one. I actually did an unboxing of that one if you want to get a closer look at it. But this is just incredible. What is my preferred way to read Bitmap books? Honestly, I kind of prefer to read them on my iPad Pro. When you make a purchase from Bitmap Books website, you actually are entitled to a PDF of the book contents itself. Because PDFs are so ubiquitous, you could actually load that PDF file onto whichever device that you want in order to read or peruse the contents of the book without ever actually having to open up the book's package at all. While you are only entitled to 5 downloads from the website, you certainly can do a lot with that download. And in this case, I put it on my iPad, and I honestly prefer to watch and read the books through using my iPad. You can use whichever PDF reading program that you want in order to basically read the book. But I basically just use whatever I've got with my iPad preloaded. And yes, as you can tell from these last two shots, you can orient your device to whichever format the book would look good on. So what are my final thoughts on Bitmap Books? Well, I really do like everything about where the publisher has been going with their work. And I'm also really looking forward to picking up some more of their books. Like I said, you could basically look at these books from 3 different standfolds. One, them as essentially coffee table books of art. 2, encyclopedias of information about the games the game history. Or 3, essentially art pieces of themselves. Those books that they publish check every single one of those boxes. And so I'm really happy to say I'm happy with what I've picked up of them so far. And I am looking forward to hopefully them restocking some of the books that I mentioned earlier. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, my name is Maniac with GameAccess.net. Take care. Over and out.